We're doing it live.
In media res. Let's go.
I'm going to scream like a jackal and be like, we died, but we're back.
Yep.
Okay, we're back. Regenerating is hard work. Very painful. Don't suggest it.
Non-existence is not fun. I don't know whoever told me that it was just non-existence. It's not non-existence. It's something else. I don't know.
Yeah, those damn patter screamers are like, oh, existence is pain. I don't know. Not existing frickin' sucks, man. I prefer being alive.
Would not recommend. Would not.
Oh boy. Okay, so I'm just going to start with this offset because I don't know how far I got before it gave up. So we got 2 offsets in before that crash. Let's keep it going.
I'm sorry. We're on offset 7.
Oh no. Okay. Item number SCP-7599, level 5, classified top secret. Containment class, esoteric. Secondary class, neutralized. Disruption class, amida. Risk class, critical. Special containment procedures, archive procedures. It is imperative that SCP-7599-1 and SCP-7599-2 are never found, like my router tried to do to our stream. Through the help of the IRCR, both instances of SCP-7599 have been contained inside of a pocket reality titled SCP-7599-Omega. The location and coordinates of this reality have been permanently deleted from all IRCR and SCP documents, like they tried to do with our stream, but we came back and wiped from the memories of all personnel who worked on the initial construction of SCP-7599-Omega through the usage of Class C retrograde amnestics. If SCP-7599 Omega is altered in any way, and SCP-7599 is unable to be secured, procedure Cassis is to be put into action immediately, and details about SCP-7599 and 7599 Omega are to be temporarily given to all agents in the department responsible for its safety. Updated containment notice. As of the 1st of July, 2022, SCP-7599 has been neutralized. 7599 Omega has been destroyed, and its location has been made public to all personnel previously working on it. No further containment procedures or documentation has been deemed necessary. Description: SCP-7599 referred to 2 6-sided cube-shaped dice made out of black unknown substance that chemically and physically resemble plastic. SCP-7599's anomalous effects manifested when at least one of the instances were in close proximity to a human being. That person, from then on known as an SCP-7599-A instance, would start to experience events with odds that would over time decrease. These events would initially have almost always benefited SCP-7599-A, whether directly or indirectly. However, as SCP-7599's effects progress, these events would go on to harm others. SCP-7599's luck led to other people's injury, death, and derangement, as long as its host was not physically or materially affected. After a certain point, events with incredibly low probabilities that are perceived as statistically impossible. Footnote: a statistically impossible event is defined as an event when a definite probability lower than 10 to the negative 50th power. While not completely impossible, the odds of such an event occurring are so low that they are not expected to ever happen in normal conditions and are thus considered not possible. Would begin to manifest around SCP-7599-A. Such effects would lead to large harm to SCP-7599-A's environment, and if reality allowed it, and reality if allowed to continue. Footnote: realities that face prolonged damage through the manifestation of anomalous events are prone to CK-class reality restructuring events. See IRCR notes. SCP-7599 Delta, formerly Reality 102 of Project Probinum, is an abyssal reality that has faced a complete collapse. Before its usage in the neutralization of SCP-7599, SCP-7599 Delta was in partial collapse, and all attempts to open permanent portals into it had proven futile. However, a way to enter the reality and open an entrance to it, albeit temporarily, had been devised. SCP-7599 Delta housed 7000-Delta-1, an unknown entity presumed to have been Jack Midway Doyle, previously known as SCP-7599-A1. No other signs of life had been detected in the reality except for it, and all attempts at communication had directed to 7599-Delta-1. See Addendum 75991. Addendum 75991, reclassification. SCP-7599 was reclassified following communication between SCP-7599 Delta and the IRCR being set up. a large anomalous event was found to have been the culprit of the reality beginning to collapse through a CK-class reality structuring event, and journal entries recovered from the reality showed that SCP-7599 was to blame. Investigations began into trying to figure out what exactly had happened, led by the IRCR's communication specialists. After extensive trial and error, a connection with SCP-7599-Delta-1 was formed on the 13th of June 2022 and is transcribed as follows. Transcript of initial communication with SCP-7599-Delta, 13th of June 2022. Specialist Theodore White, SCP-7599-Delta-1. 2100 hours 3 minutes. Connection is formed between Specialist and Delta via phone. Specialist. Hello? Can you hear me? 1 minute later, no response is heard. Settings are reconfigured. Hello?
Good evening.
Connection cuts out once more. Who am I speaking to?
Mr. Doyle. Who is this?
Full name?
Jack Midway Doyle.
Name is researched by on-site personnel. A match is found on SCP-7599's archived file.
Is it you again? Are you back to torture me?
You? We are from the IRCR. We don't mean hostility. We're just research...
Of course it is you.
Connection worsens. Mr. Doyle, are you aware of the current situation your reality is in?
Everyone's fucking dead. There's nothing left for you, Brahm.
My name is Theodore White. Dr. Brahm is currently not here.
Are you the ones responsible for this? Are you some kind of gods playing tricks with me?
For what? Mr. Doyle, we're trying to understand what's happened too. Please, no need for hostility.
Leave me the hell alone. Fuck you for everything you've done to me.
We don't mean... Communications fully end. The IRCR is unable to restore them. End transcript. Throughout the following week, the IRCR on multiple occasions attempted to converse with SCP-7599-Delta-1, only 3 of which were successful. While SCP-7599-Delta-1 showed extreme signs of hostility at first, they were able to be calmed in on the final call and were successfully interviewed by Specialist Theodore White on the 19th of June. SCP-7599 was declared the reason behind the CK-class event in 7000 Delta, and 7599-Delta-1 was interrogated further about everything that had occurred before the partial collapse and the journal entries it had written. Shortly after 7599's true effects were discovered through the help of 7599-Delta, it was reclassified by the IRCR and contained. Addendum 7599.2 Neutralization Proposal. Proposal for Project Throw the Dice. Proposed by senior researcher Alan Collins and Erica Brahm for review by the O5 Council and the IRCR administration. There is no doubt, not a single one, that SCP-7599 will breach containment. It is an inevitable truth. From the very beginning, we saw how people seemed to drool over the idea of securing SCP-7599 and using it for themselves. It was an anomaly which had power that none of us could have imagined, sure, but it was still stupid to believe that it could be completely harmless. Look no further than our first rounds of testing. SCP-7599 had the very ability to manipulate death itself. Anyone who got their hands on it could have the universe's cards dealt in their favor, permanently, whether friend or foe. Now we've seen what it really does, and we've realized what we have to do. Seal it away permanently, and hide it not only from our enemies, but also ourselves. And no matter how much it seems to be working right now, it's not going to work in the long run. Our containment of 7599 hinges on the fact that nobody knows, or for more appropriate wording, remembers the location of its pocket reality. And while amnestics are effective at concealing memories, they're not effective enough to wipe every remnant of the location of 7599 Omega out of its architects' minds. Amnestics are just one of those simple methods that can be utilized to resurface those memories. So the conclusion is simple, and one that we can all agree on. 7599 must be neutralized. And it must be done quickly. I am aware that a proposal for this has been made before in the form of sending 7599 to another reality close to ours. There's some undeniable problems with this idea, of course. We risk many things, causing irreparable damage to more realities and having 7599 return to our reality. We, as the senior researchers of the IRCR, propose a similar solution, one that at the very least solves one of these worries. The proposal is simple. We've discovered a way to open a temporary passage into 7599 Delta, and we know that the entry of an object or foreign entity foreign to the reality would cause an almost instantaneous collapse. By utilizing this entrance and having both instances of 7599 discarded into the reality, we contain and effectively neutralize SCP-7599 permanently. The reality collapses, and no matter how much anyone tries, 7599 will never be reached again. We will have no more reason to worry. Of course, as I'm sure most of the Council is already aware, this doesn't come without any adverse consequences. Due to such a sudden and violent collapse, other realities interconnected with 7599 Delta in our multiverse face the risk of being permanently harmed and possibly collapsing too. We can stop it from becoming a chain reaction and finding its way to us, but there's still a relatively large chance that at least one of those 6 realities will be irreversibly damaged. That is why there's a choice to be made by the Council. Either we put ourselves in peril, or we gamble and protect ourselves against the threat that's reared its fatal nuclear head at our true goal, defending baseline reality. It's time to take a chance. I trust the Council will make the right choice. Addendum 75993, Proposal Vote Summary. Proposal, throw the dice. Contain SCP-7599 inside of 7599 Delta through the complete collapse of the reality, effectively neutralizing it. Council vote summary. 1, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11 vote yay. 2, 5, 12 vote nay. 3, 8, 13 abstain. Status accepted. Addendum 75994, Procedure 75599, NTR. SCP-7599 was neutralized on the morning of 30th of June 2022, following the completion of Procedure 7599 NTR, in which both instances were discarded into 7599 Delta in the presence of 10 members of the IRCR Security and Research Departments, including Dr. Alan Collins, who oversaw the process. 3. Footnote. Dr. Erica Braun was not present despite assisting Dr. Alan Collins in preparation. The full collapse of 7599 Delta took 13 minutes and 27 seconds. Shortly before the full collapse of 7599 Delta, Dr. Alan Collins' phone received the following email from an unknown email account. To Alan Collins, IRCR, at skip.net, from Redacted, I'm assuming Jack Doyle, subject, nothing. It's over. Thank you. All attempts to trace the account the email came from have failed. Procedure 7599 NTR has been deemed a success. SCP-7599 has been neutralized. End article.
Woo!
Woo! Our own stream and therefore universe collapsed in the middle of this article. I think that's thematic.
I think we didn't have enough processing power to really map out this article. This is a lot. Big brain stuff here.
Oh my word. Okay, do you want to go first or should I go first?
So I'll go first only because you just spent the last hour talking and I feel so bad.
Hey, we had a really good 30-minute back and forth. It was nice and easy.
That was true. That was true. So first things first, way too much. There's just way too much stuff here. There's no need for this amount of extra, like the footnotes that are explaining, the town in Wisconsin, like we can figure it out. Also, just instant point off for not using Luck Wisconsin, like I keep asking people to do. If you're gonna use Wisconsin in the Luck article, use Luck Wisconsin. It's fine. I already put it in my Luck article. It's fine. So it's hardly a big issue. Also, I like the class triangle. that wasn't really expected, but I did like that. I didn't I don't know why they have the thing with the particle effects. It's really it's kind of too much sometimes. It doesn't really add much to the article, but it's fine. The thing that I really had the most problem with was the testing logs that didn't add anything at all and was incredibly long and arduous, and the journal entries, which must have been written with, I don't know, it's just that character did not suit well with me. He it was oh yeah, the UK is just, it's not nearly as interesting as, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but it's still pretty cool. And the luck effect manifests a woman for him and she has no agency whatsoever. And it's oh I don't know. I had more stuff, but human brain can only hold 6 things in its active memory at one time. I'm just like, I just can't. I'm flabbergasted.
So yes, I am definitely going to downvote this article. I am with the current rating, and I can explain why in a couple simple bullet points, which I wish this article took that structure to heart a little bit. I'm going to open this with a compliment. Author, I can tell that you can write an SCP. I see the skeleton of the format. But
yeah,
speaking of format, there are a lot of times when you change from SCP-7599-Delta to Delta A1 to A1 to using the SCP before the 7599 to not using the SCP before the 7599. And the formatting changes up and down so many times that I was like stumbling on my sight reading because I was expecting it to have one thing and then it was another for arbitrary reasons that I can't tell. Like if the dimension's one thing, if the person's another, if the person's another thing, but also in the dimension, but we're talking to the dimension like it's the person because the person's the only thing in the dimension. The formatting needed a lot of cleaning up and meshing together better. Your opening. When I write an SCP, as I joked, maybe it was in the previous stream now, I am a theater college dropout. I was too lazy to make it through liberal arts college. So when you read my SCPs, you notice a simplicity of language, a bare minimum of scientific clinical tone. I am the bottom of the barrel for this. And then if you read my latest article, 5542, I had that rewritten almost entirely by another author, Gloomy. And she took my article and she said, I like this. And then she made the entire thing just clinical in a way that I never could have imagined. I was like, oh, this is what clinical tone is supposed to be. I really like this. Thank you for your help. That I gave her co-writing credit because she basically rewrote my whole article, but made it an SCP actually. And so that was like a level up.
The beach that's made of cake. Oh yeah.
Beach
cool.
cake.
Beach cake.
And so that was a step up from my bottom of the barrel. And then there's the really, really, really technical articles that use all of their jargon in service of the article. And your opening formatting, the way footnotes go, the way that you put Madison, but then you put the state and the country in a footnote, but earlier you didn't do that with like a UK address or something. It's over formatted and overly technical, but not in a way that tells us anything. And when we got to your logs, for your testing logs, they gave us all of